Nick Ashew here with the DMV.
Has concluded.
The DMVSTREAM.COM player.
Sean Parker along with Nick Allison.
I always wanted to play volleyball in college.
Cordova trying to dig it out of the board. And they score! This is DMVSTREAM.COM. You are in the Prep Zone. I am Sean Parker. I brought 80% of my voice, but 100% of my heart. That's how you have to do on this show. DMV Stream, I didn't mean to make you laugh. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
DMVStream.com's Brenton Randolph, Washington Post's Nick Allison. Gentlemen, welcome. Are we ready to talk about some high school sports?
Oh, you better believe it, man. I'm excited.
Let's do it. Let's show you, ladies and gentlemen, what we are going to be talking about on today's show. We're going to be recapping the girls' game out in Virginia between Oakland and Langley. We're going to be talking about the Hilton and Western Branch game. We will also be recapping Gonzaga and Maury, WT Woodson and Landstown, and then we've got some previews coming up for you. WT Woodson and Hilton and the Oakland Colonial Forge girls. You can find us on Facebook Live, DMVStream.com on demand, and on Fairfax Public Access Channel 10. We're going to step away and take a brief break. When we come back, we are going to get into the weekly rewind. You are watching the Prep Zone here on DMVStream.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at AllMetSports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm BJ Kubarulis. All right, like the previous 3 seasons, we're continuing our exciting interactive high school basketball show, a show that allows you, parents, coaches, players, and fans, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. Each week, we'll reveal the latest highlights, dunks, sweet assists, and bizarre happenings from across the region. All you gotta do is tweet me the link. I'm at BJ Koob, and remember, you gotta hashtag it AllMets. You can send in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Remember to tune in every Monday to see if your video made it at AllMetSports.com. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to the Prep Zone. Sean Parker, Brenton Randolph, and Nick Eilerson. We're going to jump back right into my favorite segment. It's going to be the weekly rewind. And we're going to start with Oakland and Langley. Nick, what happened out there?
Well, we had a rematch of the region semifinal between Oakland and Langley, 2 teams that probably the 2 most disciplined girls basketball teams I saw all season. You got Fred Priester on one bench and Amanda Baker on the other. They really coached their teams up. This is a Langley team that beat Oakland by 28 points in the semifinal, so Oakland really was coming out for some revenge in this one. It was, as expected, most of the game very evenly matched. Early on, Maddie Royal picked up her 4th personal foul. She picked up her 3rd personal foul, got frustrated, yelled, got teed up. That was her 4th. Not even halfway through the 2nd quarter, so you just felt like, wow, Langley's going to run away with this because Maddie Royal is so important to this Oakland team.
I mean, she must have said something harsh to get a tee like that.
Well, I don't know. I couldn't hear it. I was a little bit far away. I was on the other side of the court, but I imagine it wasn't the nicest line on her part. But anyway, she's a 6'1" American recruit, one of their best players, so she had to go to the bench until the 4th quarter. Didn't matter because her teammate, her partner in crime down low, Delaney Connolly, had a career night, I believe. It was at least her season high of 31 points. Just really stepped up on the offensive end and powered this Oakland team to a double-digit victory over a really good Langley team that plays some of the best defense you'll see on boys or girls. This was the most points scored against Langley all season, even though it seems like a low-scoring game, 52-40. That's a lot of points to put up against Langley. So Oakland was very efficient on offense. I think they only had 4 turnovers. They really worked the ball around well, and Delaney just stepped up inside. While even Kaylin Fee, their best guard on the perimeter, she was only like 1 for 9. So you figure Kaylin having an off night, Maddie being sidelined for most of the game, they're not going to beat Langley. But hey, basketball's a funny game, so they pulled it out.
Indeed it is. Oakland with the 12-point win. Let's move to game report number 2. Brenton, Gonzaga and Maury. And I've been saying ever since the first time I saw him, Chris Likes, wow. That's all I have to say is wow.
I mean, absolutely. Chris Likes is definitely the real deal, and you can tell just by the way he plays, even his Twitter handle, I am likes that, which is just, I mean, when you see him on the court, it's like that every time. And he's just been absolutely incredible, and that's why he was named the DC SAA tournament MVP in the game, as Gonzaga was able to come out and win by 11 points. But didn't seem like Gonzaga got out to the strongest of starts. Maury actually led by 8 at the end of the first quarter. And for the Frogs, Luka Garza had a monster game. Even though they came up on the short end of the stick, he had 37 points. You can see, obviously, he's got a huge size advantage over anybody that the Eagles can put out there. And he made full advantage of it, just dominating inside in the paint. But, I mean, give credit to Gonzaga. They made some big shots when they needed to, especially in the third quarter. They ended on a 13-0 run. And it was just really a good game all around from two teams, obviously Gonzaga, the WCAC champion, and Maury being the second place team in the MAC. So you figured it'd be a good one coming in, and these two teams definitely didn't disappoint us. I believe you saw Eddie Scott getting a nice dunk there, and just I mean, a tough way for Luka Garza to end his career, obviously, at Maury. But, I mean, when you see Iowa is going to be getting a great player in Luka Garza, and Miami's going to be getting an excellent player, an excellent guard in Chris Likes as well. So I know Jim Larrañaga's got to be excited about that.
I always say when I talk about Chris Likes, I said Jim Larrañaga is down there in Coral Gables giggling. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so Gonzaga with the 11-point win, 77-66. Going to step away, pay a couple bills, come back, and we're going to give you the second half of the Weekly Rewind here on DMVSTREAM.com. Sean Parker here on DMVSTREAM.com with former longtime Northern Virginia coach Brian Doyle, Fairfax High School boys assistant Jerry Lynn, and we are going to be talking about the Nova Challenge, and we are going to be specifically talking about Fairfax and the Fairfax roster. We're going to reveal it. Gentlemen, it's your show.
All right, let's do it. Let's take a look at that Fairfax roster. We're excited. Fourth annual Nova, DMVSTREAM.com Nova Challenge. Andrew Duggan from South Lakes be coaching. He had a great team this year. Jerry, Jason Agner.
Oh, man, this kid's got a range from 25 feet out. Jason's a big-time shooter, cold-blooded assassin. Hit some big shot from Woodson during the state tournament title run here. He's going to be a nice get here for the All-Star game.
You see Nick Albert from Westfield. They had a tough year this year coming off their state championship, but he played really hard, really good defender, athletic kid. Marcus Cherry, one of those guys that Coach Duggan coached at South Lakes, really part of a great trio with Cameron Savage and Emmanuel Aguirre at South Lakes. Really had a nice season for them, a good scorer. And then the next guy,
Johnny Korish.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a player, a dynamic ball handler. He's explosive, wiry kid who can really get up there, jump among the best of them. He's also tough as nail, helping his Madison team to a great year so far. So I'm looking forward to having him too.
Yeah, they made a great run, and he was kind of the quarterback of that team. Really fun to watch him and his teammates play. Sammy, you know Sammy from Langley a little bit, and then we got Big Jack Foley from Marshall. I think you know him from your time on Marshall's staff. 6'10" guy going to Augusta University in Georgia.
Right. Two terrific post players, but Jack Foley, 6'10". He is enormous, gigantic. He is huge. You don't see size like that, especially in the Northern Virginia area. I'm excited about having him. I mean, he's got a soft hand, and he's got a motor to him. He's a good player.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the players to mention from Fairfax here on DMVSTREAM.com.
It's the DMVSTREAM.com Nova Challenge. This year's event welcomes the area's best public school basketball players for an action-packed day of showcase basketball. This year's event will welcome the top seniors from Fairfax, Loudoun, Arlington, Prince William counties, and the city of Alexandria for a series of all-star games, a dunk contest, and a three-point contest. Underclassmen will also have access to a developmental clinic hosted by our friends at Evolution Basketball. And just like last year's event, you can watch the games streaming live right here at DMVStream.com. As the title sponsor of the event, we'll provide you, the viewers and fans, the exceptional state-of-the-art coverage you've come to expect from our sports broadcast group. As the Mid-Atlantic's number...
Sean Parker here on DMVSTREAM.com with Brian Doyle and Jerry Lynn, and we are going to be talking about the players to mention. Let's start with Corey Pelham from Lake Braddock.
Well, great story. Corey, prolific scorer, player of the year in his league. And the interesting thing about Lake Braddock is they started off the season being a slow-paced, low-scoring team. And then Coach Mitra said enough of that. And around holiday time, they started running up and down the floor. And I'm sure Corey was thrilled with that decision. You see his stats right there, almost 24 points a game, 86 threes, and really a fun system for those guys to play in and to watch as well. So Corey was certainly the leader. Had a lot of help over there too, but the leader for Lake Braddock.
All right, and Johnny Korish, you gentlemen talked about him a little bit, from Madison.
Yeah, he's definitely the leader of the Warhawks team this year that made a run to deep in the postseason, won the regional championship, brought the first regional title to the James Madison High School in its long history. He's a terrific player. He's a great athlete. He can pass the ball. He can shoot. He can create shot for his teammate. He can also score. There's not a whole lot of weakness to his game. He's a very all-round player.
All right. If you want information on high school sports in the DMV, there's only one source. It's here on DMVSTREAM.com. For Brian and Jerry, I'm Sean. We'll see you later. Sean Parker, Nick Allison, Brenton Randolph, welcoming you back to the Prep Zone for the second half of the Weekly Rewind. And Nick, we're going to jump right into Hilton and Western Branch.
Yeah, so Hilton, Western Branch, two teams you didn't expect to get this far in the tournament, yet here they are. Hilton lost 10 seniors from last year's team. They're a very senior-laden team last year that everybody expected to go really far. Ended up losing to Westfield in the state quarterfinals. And people thought, well, you lose 4 starters from that team as well. This is going to be a bit of a down year. They're bringing a lot of guys up from JV, but Coach Barry Smith said at the beginning of the season he actually expects them to reload more than rebuild because some of those JV guys he knew were really coming into their own. So they've kind of formed this really good bond with their senior DJ Hill, who's a really good player, 6'6" senior, really good swingman, can put the ball on the floor, likes to pull up from mid-range, has some soft touch from that range, and the rest of his teammates have just been pretty humble this season, and they've formed this nice chemistry. So here they are, played against Western Branch. This particular game wasn't, and there you can see Dwayne Hill. I don't know if it's DJ or Dwayne. They call him DJ, but I think his birth name is Dwayne. Was 10 for 12, just an excellent game for him, 30 points. They led by 10 early in the first, I think it was in the first quarter, and just never really let up from there. So it was pretty much a runaway victory, even though it looks pretty close here against Western Branch. But Hilton, like I said, they're riding this wave that people didn't expect them to ride, and it's also a case of them having a little bit easier of a path this year. I think they ran into that Westfield juggernaut in the state quarterfinal last year, and that was just always going to be a tough game to win. But whereas this year they play a Madison team that did really well to win the region in the state quarters, but that's not, playing Madison in the state quarters isn't the same as playing last year's Westfield team in the state quarters. So, and then you get Western Branch after that. It's just a bit of an easier path for Hilton this year. So, but don't discredit them for that, because like I said, they're really playing well. They've got this great chemistry going, and DJ Hill's an excellent player, really fun to watch. So they don't have any D1 commits or even college basketball commits of any kind. I think DJ Hill's got a few D2 and D3 offers, but hey, maybe he'll get some after this tournament because they're going pretty far.
All right, well, let's hope that they do. We'll jump into our second game report. WT Woodson and Landstown. Brenton, what have you got to say about them?
Yeah, I mean, this one was a pretty close game throughout. Obviously, Landstown coming all the way down from Southern Virginia, all the way up here to Fairfax to play in that game, and WT Woodson only just a drive across the street out there to Robinson Secondary. So a big home field advantage for the Cavaliers, and they certainly used that to their advantage to be able to get out on top and win by just a 2-point margin, actually. So it was a huge game, I would say, for Jason Agner, especially. Offensively, he led the team with 17 points in this game, as he normally does, but only made 1 3-pointer, which is a little bit unusual for him because he's got range that goes all the way outside the parking lot. So Landstown actually did a good job on him. That's the 1 3 he made right before the end of the first quarter. But an even bigger story was Jason Agner's defense against Landstown's best player, Michael Christmas. Christmas is a guy that had actually been getting, I think, a couple of D1 offers even, and Jason Agner was able to hold him to just 11 points on 5 of 17 shooting.
Wow,
and
some lumps of coal under his tree, huh?
yeah, certainly. I mean, just there was a huge sort of struggle for Michael Christmas in this one. And even though you see him getting that bucket there, just never really got into a rhythm. And even though Landstown made that buzzer beater, it was already a 2-possession game, and Woodson was able to get that breakthrough. They've been in the state semifinals maybe a few times and just hadn't been able to get over that hump. So in talking to Coach Craig after the game and earlier, it was just a huge win, not just for the players, but for the coaches as well, to get over that mental hump and get into the state championship game.
All right, well, there you have it. W.T. Woodson with the 2-point win. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have our game previews right here on the Prep Zone on DMVSTREAM.com. Sean Parker here on DMVSTREAM.com with Alex Harris from Evolution Basketball Training, and we are going to be going through a couple of, actually, he is going to be going through a couple of player breakdowns. Wakefield's Alex Treacle, Halil Parks, and in West Potomac's Khalil Williams-Diggins.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get started here, showing some of the top players in the area. And these guys have had great seasons, and we are seeing some great basketball out of them, especially here down the end stretch of the season, getting into tournament time. So let's go ahead and take a look. Alan Treacle, Wakefield High School, averaging 16.3 points a game, also dishing it out. 3 assists a game, obviously a very good shooter, putting 88% from the free throw line. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down some of Alan's plays here, and as well Halil Parks, one of his teammates over there at Wakefield, and just showing why they're one of the best backcourts in the area. So if we can go ahead and roll that first clip. So right here we have Alan. He's going to be setting things up, nice and patient. I love the patience, not in a rush. Now, as they move the ball around, you can just see the defense having to rotate and shift. They're even looking into the post, a little bit unique. I like it. Now, as things start to attack here, go ahead and let's pause it. Low roll it a little bit further along, and you're going to see a cut right down the baseline.
There it is right there.
There it is right there, the cut down the baseline, and that starts the action that we want to see. Now, the drive and the attack is what's setting things up. And now, all of a sudden, drawing the defense, the cut down the baseline, we're finding a great shooter in the corner. And there it is, 3-pointer. This is a great setup, great patience, great action by Wakefield, showing why they're one of the best teams in the area. All right, as we move on to the second clip, we've got Halil here, Halil Parks, coming off of a ball screen. And let's go ahead and pause right there. Let's go back just a little bit. I want to show number 12. Number 12 right there is the man guarding the screener. And you got to communicate. You got to communicate. There's no communication. There's no switch here. And it's an easy blow by right there by Halil.
So what should he have done in that case?
He's got a hedge, and it's something that, you know, each coach teaches a little bit differently, but he's got to get up and he's got a hedge, and he's got to show something to make it where it's not so easy. If we want to go back one more time on that one, we're going to see not only is that no hedge there, keep rolling a little bit forward, we're not getting any help from the other side too. Number 32 there just lets the man go right down the lane for the easy bucket.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, 12 was backpedaling, going the opposite direction right there.
Yeah, got to make it harder. These guys are too good. Moving on to our last clip, pause right there. All right, so now we've got Alan Treacle, okay, the other part of the dynamic duo over there at Wakefield, showing the same exact play. Here's our ball screen. Now, this time they do switch. All right, there is a switch here. There is a hedge, we'll call it. Now, go ahead and play it a little bit further. 32 right there obviously is not a great perimeter defender and allows Alan Treacle to get to the rim for an easy bucket. Let's go back and watch it one more time. So as we're seeing this, there's the pause. Now, here's the hard part. You've got a guard with great perimeter ball handling skills. You got a big guy with a little bit slower feet. This is an easy win for Treacle. So as we go right by him, pause right there. Number 5 on our right side, no help defense. We've got the guy cutting down the baseline, not staying home either, continues to run out. Great job by Alan Treacle, just recognizing the defensive errors, making it an easy bucket for himself.
All right, so one of the best backcourts in the area, and we can see why they were able to do that. Now we've got West Potomac's Khalil Williams-Diggins. It's game preview time here on the Prep Zone with the weekly Fast Forward. We're going to start with Oakton and Colonial Forge. Nick.
Oakland Colonial Forge. The one to watch out for here is the battle in the paint, because you got Shakira Austin against Maddie Royal and Delaney Connolly. This is going to be really fun to watch. Shakira Austin, a 6'5" Maryland commit. There she is right there. Just has absolutely had her way so far in the state tournament. She really hasn't had a challenge yet, so I think it'll be fun for her to see something a little bit different here. In that last game against Patriot, they didn't have anybody who was within a head as far as height goes, so it was just kind of a joke. I think she had like 20 points by halftime, was just running away with it. But we discussed Delaney Connolly before, 31 points in that last game. Maddie Royal, when she's playing the whole game, she can do the same thing. She's a great player too. So it'll be interesting to see how Oakton tries to stymie Shakira on defense and see if they can work around her on the other end. But it'll also be an interesting question of pace. Colonial Forge really loves to push the tempo. I think against Battlefield there were 45 total turnovers and 33 steals or something like that, and it's just indicative of how fast they like to play. It's just absolutely up and down the court. They've got, you look at the shorts that Colonial Forge wears, it looks like track shorts. It's not your traditional like down to your knees basketball shorts.
They like the Stockton shorts.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a bunch of Stocktons out there, but you can immediately get the sense that like they like to run, and that's how it is, like a track meet out there. So Oakton likes to slow it up a little bit more than that. So it will be intriguing to see how those two styles clash in that state championship.
And as a Maryland alum, Shakira, your presence will be welcome at College Park. Game preview number 2. I had to slide that in. Game preview number 2. WT Woodson and Hilton. Brenton.
Yeah. Well, these are the two teams. We talked about them earlier in our recaps, and they've both had some pretty interesting road getting into this point, especially WT Woodson. They've been the finalist in their conference tournament. They were the finalists in the region. Both times came up just a little bit short. So they've obviously had some tough games to get them prepared for this big-time state championship game against Hilton. And meanwhile, on the other hand, Hilton was a team, as Nick said, lost a whole bunch of seniors. And in this season, they started 7-7, I believe, before reeling off 14 of their last 16 wins to get to this point. And yeah, as you can see there, they've had some comeback victories as well, like the comeback win against Madison, where they were trailing by 13 in the second half. So they've been certainly very impressive. And the guy to watch out for Hilton is obviously going to be Dwayne or DJ Hill. Still don't know which one it is. And and for Woodson, obviously, you got to look out for Jason Agner, who, like I mentioned earlier, has a range basically probably from Maryland, I don't know, Prince George's County maybe, all the way to Fairfax. And obviously, another guy, a guy that I would consider an X factor for WT Woodson might be Matthew Urbach. Urbach is coming in averaging around 13 points a game, but he's capable of scoring, 30 points a game, or he could score as low as, 5 points a game, which is what he had against Landstown. And I think if he has a big game, that could give Hilton a little bit of trouble and make them have to focus on another guy more so than just Agner, and that would be a big help for WT Woodson in that game.
How about a prediction for that game?
I am going to go with WT Woodson, actually, just because, like I've seen them play in those games, and even though they lost those games, they were in all of those games. And I think this game coming up Saturday will probably be their chance to finally have that major breakthrough and get that first ever state championship.
Nick, want to chime in on a prediction?
I got to agree. I hate to be boring, but I think Woodson's going to get over that hump and win that first state championship. I think they're going to do it.
All right. I mean, just some exciting basketball action, excuse me, in the state of Virginia. Just very quickly, what is your impression on the state of basketball in the state of Virginia?
Well, I'm thinking it's pretty good. You could have you can talk about the private school teams in Virginia, like Paul VI, Bishop O'Connell. They've obviously been really good this year, and we're very competitive in the WCAC. In terms of public school teams, you see 2 Nova teams representing in the 6A state championship, which is always good. So definitely a good year, solid year, even though Nick might disagree because there aren't any D1 prospects or anything like that, no big names, but just a bunch of solid basketball teams and really good basketball play, just moving the ball around, that sort of thing. So good year overall for Nova in basketball.
Yeah, I agree with you. You don't necessarily have to have that individual stardom and guys going to Duke or North Carolina to say that there's good basketball here. There is. I think Woodson, like you talked about earlier, they really work well together. So does Hilton. And just because they don't have the stars doesn't mean you don't have fun basketball to watch in Northern Virginia. And I think obviously it is tough when you've got schools like Paul VI who are sucking in a lot of that talent, and the private schools are, obviously on their face just very different, and there's more talent there. But I think it is also unfortunate from the public school standpoint that you've got the VHSL having reclassed in 2013, and ever since you've got it's watered down competition. You've got 6 classes instead of 3. So the teams at 6A, obviously the size of the field is like twice as small, and you're not going to get that quality of competition as you had before. So that's why sometimes you could even argue the 4A and 3A schools are as good or better than the 6A schools, because you got some traditional powers down at Virginia Beach like IC Norcom and the like that could play with anybody in 6A. So I miss the days when it was AAA over 6A. That's my only complaint. Other than that,
aren't they supposed to be going back to that though?
Not quite. They're still, I think they're going to still have 6 classes, but they are going to redistrict everything.
Okay. I knew something was changing. I didn't know exactly what it was.
Something's always changing.
But yeah, like the big AAA was what it was like back when I was in high school, and you would see not going a little bit away from Nova, but like you would see teams like Petersburg and Norcom matching up against each other. Not sure if they would do that under this setup, which is kind of a shame because you want to see like all of the best teams sort of going up against each other for the same state championship instead of like having 2 teams that are maybe miles apart winning a state championship, but having it be a different state championship, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's still fun either way, but you want to see one of those like just super team versus super team sort of matchups, especially at the high school level, because those are always a whole bunch of fun.
And even imagine if it was just 5A and 6A together. Look at Potomac. If Potomac was playing against some of these teams in 6A, that would be much more exciting as well. So yeah, I really do wish you just had more teams to draw from when you get to the state tournament point.
Or like having a team like Loudoun Valley, who's just dominating in 4A boys basketball, go up against some of those teams, like you said, Potomac, Wakefield, maybe West Potomac or something like that, because they're not that far away.
Right,
so,
in
like,
AAA, all those teams would have been the same. You got Loudoun County 4A, Potomac 5, and then you've got the other teams you mentioned in 6. So all those teams would have been playing against each other. Gone are the good old days, Sean.
I mean, sometimes it's the luck of the draw, because we were talking a little bit earlier off camera about the Maryland girls state championship. I mean, the money game is in the 4A is Eleanor Roosevelt and Whitman. You want to see that in the final, but that's going to be a semifinal matchup. So in all of the jurisdictions, sometimes you don't get those super team matchups in the round that you want. But the good thing is you still see a lot of quality basketball.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're still going to be under the big lights too, like you said. Eleanor Roosevelt and Whitman, they'll still be playing at Towson.
So,
CQ
Arena.
It's going to be a great environment. So whether it be state semifinal or state championship, that's a good environment to be in.
That's right. Exciting championship basketball all over the DMV. Richmond is the place to be for Virginia this weekend. Maryland, University of Maryland, College Park for the boys, Towson for the girls. So wherever you are, you can catch some great basketball. Sean Parker, Brenton Randolph, Nick Eilerson. This has been the Prep Zone on DMVSTREAM.com. We'll see you later.